Hello, good people, and welcome to the Amateur Hour. My name's Justin.
My name's Tyler.
And I'm the one called Junior.
And today we're sponsored by EBXYA and Lofty Cat Studios. So, guys, I'm trying to get, as you would say, swole.
Oh.
Yeah. I got the dumbbells, two 12-pound dumbbells. And I tried it at one point, but I was too lazy. Now, I go 5 minutes each arm.
And that's just you trying to pick it up, right? You never lifted it off the ground.
5 minutes? Yeah, I go halfway and then my back gives out and I fall straight down.
Yeah, I mean, now's the time to do it. Everybody's like, oh, I got to get ready for beach bod. Might as well, you got to start it now.
Yeah, I mean, not that I go to the beach or really care for, I guess, showing off my bod, but I think it's a personal experience for me. I want to be able to lift something and be proud of it and be like, yeah, I worked to lift up that piece of paper,
Yeah. Well, with me, I kind of want to get more into shape. The beers are starting to catch up with me a little bit, get a little bit of a gut. And it's just going to be weird for me because I'm super skinny and then I'm just going to have a gut.
Yeah, like we were talking about last time how I was like 155 and now I'm like 180. And I'm like, no, got to go down just a bit. I think that a bit, that's a part of it,
I could give two shits what other people think, like if someone else called me fat or whatever, but I will admit I would like to be more toned and maybe my gut more under control.
Yeah, Tyler, for those of you who don't know, he has like dad bod.
No, thanks, guys. I am a new-ish dad.
You're a dad, so I mean it fits.
Yeah, so you're allowed to, man.
Yeah, that's our point,
I still don't like it.
Everyone has a point in time where you become a dad and you fall into that dad bod, because then you're like, I just got to take care of my kid, and that's all I'm worrying about.
All right, so you're doing like working out at home. That's what you're doing.
Yeah. I'm working out at home. I have 2 dumbbells. I do any sort of like aerobic exercises. Like they got like core exercises where like almost like you plank, but you got to hold your body up, and that's good for your core. So I'm trying those things out. It's kind of hard to get motivated, I'm not gonna lie. And your arms feel like noodles afterward.
There's the whole 21 days to make or break a habit.
Really?
Yeah. So that would be like 3 weeks. You have to do it 3 weeks straight before it really becomes a habit. Ooh. So they say.
See, like I guess I semi-have an addictive personality, but when it comes to working out, it's like that's an addiction I don't want.
Right? Like,
and I mean, it feels good. I remember, like, in gym.
Oh, yeah.
I loved it. It felt great.
Too.
Everyone was there. I mean, I think me and you were in the same gym class for a time.
I hate
not
gym.
For a time, for every time.
Yeah.
Wasn't I in gym class with you guys once?
Probably.
I think so.
I think I was.
It was probably like junior high we had you in gym class. But me and Junior, we got all of high school together we got junior high and gym class together. And we, I like, it was a blast, like, when we would lift and stuff. I was able to lift. I was 125 at the time, so I was skinny.
I was, like, 90.
But I was able to squat 135, and I was able to bench my own weight. And that's good for, those of you who don't know. If you're able to bench your own weight, you're pretty agile.
Yeah, I know I made it onto the list there. I'm probably gone by now, but I remember being on there mostly because I was like 90 pounds. So like, as long as I did like 120 or something, like a power clean or something like that, that's like way more than my body weight percentage wise. So that's what that paper went off of, was percentages.
You were small, man. I remember it, like Junior, like he was tiny, dude. Like he was short and he was just like smaller in size. And then you had a growth spurt one day. I was like, what? He came in after one summer and I was like, Junior, like I didn't even realize this when we hung out or anything, but you're so tall.
Right?
Not that tall. I'm still pretty short.
I know, but like from what you were,
none of us are really that tall.
What you were like toddler almost, man. Like I'm not afraid to say it.
Easy there.
You were so small.
The only thing I really remember from gym class is everyone always told me that I don't know my own strength, and some people still tell me that I don't know my own strength.
Yeah, Tyler, he was pretty agile to lift up.
Well, when we went into the what do they call it, the weight room or something?
Yeah,
I don't
Yeah,
know.
it was a weight room.
But they had the machines, and then they had free weights.
Yeah, I like.
But
the
we
free
weren't
weights.
allowed to do free weights because we had to learn the machines first. So the gym teacher, what was his name?
Zany, Mr. Zany.
Mr. Zany,
He was
there
the
it is.
best.
Yeah, he was a pretty cool teacher. But he's just walking around, and he just decided, let's pick someone random out of the group to show us how to work all the machines. I know nothing about working out, but he's like, Tyler, step up. I'm like, oh, okay. You know, the first one's like leg press or whatever, puts you on the machine, and then he's just like, okay, so take the pin, and there's a stack of weights. You pull the pin out, and you put the pin in on whatever number, how much weight you want. So Mr. Zany, he's just like, take that pin and put it all the way down to the bottom. And I'm just like, really? And I'm, okay. So I put it on the bottom. That's the max amount of weight that you can lift on the machine. And then he says, go ahead and put your feet on the thing. And it's a leg press. So you basically just got to push with your legs. And I did it. And all of a sudden everyone's like, holy shit. And even Mr. Zany was like, I wanted you to struggle so I could tell the class what not to do. But I just lifted it. And he was just like, oh. So, and then the whole class is like, damn.
Yeah, dude, that's how it was. I mean, I think I was stronger in my legs because, again, I was able to squat 135 with the bar. And
Well, legs are naturally just stronger than your arms.
Right.
Yeah.
But
And-
I was able to do that on almost every machine.
Never.
I don't know the names of it, but there's one where you like put your arms together and you push out.
It's like pec deck.
I
think that's what it was called.
the pec deck.
I was able to take all the weight and pull it in,
The poop
but I
deck?
couldn't take all the weight and push it out.
I'm gonna Google that.
And
while you
then
talk
there was
about
another one. It was where you take your arms, like say your elbows at a 90 degrees, and then you push your arms straight.
Yeah.
That's another one I wasn't able to max out, but I was still able to get it pretty high.
it. I think it's a chest press.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Pec deck. Yeah, same thing.
Yeah, it looked like that, right? Pec deck.
I
Get on in on the pec deck.
I don't know if these were legit names or if these were Mr. Zany names for the machines, because Mr. Zany, he was he was a little bit of a goofball.
Oh yeah, he
But-
was my comedy writing teacher.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
And he was hilarious. He had me laughing. I would tell such like blue jokes though
Oh,
that he would
was-
look at me and he was
Mr.
like, "Why
Zany
did you
was the
say
one that would call you out for anything, though.
Yeah.
And then who was the history teacher?
Which one? It depends on
the
what
heavier
year.
set one.
Oh, Govert.
Gilbert.
Gilbert,
Oh.
yeah.
He was hilarious too.
Yeah.
Him and Mr. Zany.
They took away his bat. He was so he had this bat for the viewers at home or listeners. He had this bat that he would just pound on your desk if you weren't paying attention.
Oh yeah, if
Or
you
you were
were
sleeping.
sleeping, he would come by. Just think about it. You're laying on your desk, and a wooden bat just smacks it. How
But
loud that is, the thump and everything.
We
He did
had
not-
a
it was
child that
funny.
was, I guess, extra sensitive. So I believe they went to the office and they told on him. And now he couldn't have his bat anymore. He's like, "Oh no, I can't have my bat." He was saying, he's like, "I'm so upset," but he would still, I think, tap on everyone's desk if you were sleeping or something.
He did it with something stupid like a ruler after that.
I mean, going back to like that weight room, that was
Yeah,
or gym, that was a blast. I kind of wish that see now you got to go out and go drive to a gym.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
And
I'm
then
not
there's-
as interested in that, if
Yeah.
I'm being honest.
And there's so many gyms to choose from now too.
Yeah.
It's like, do I go to
I-
Planet Fitness, get some
I tried
pizza?
it, but I was too lazy.
My
It
parents.
was like $10 a month, and I think it was Planet Fitness where the old Menards was.
Okay.
And I did the $10 a month, and you could bring someone with you for free. But I was trying it, and I went there a few times, tried out the machines. It was a really nice place, but I couldn't give myself the willpower that I needed to keep on coming back like on a constant schedule.
Right? Like, I don't know. It just seems you got to try so hard. And I know that
Yeah.
sounds lazy of me,
Well, it's super
who
lazy, but
cares?
think about how many people struggle with that. I mean,
mean,
we're not the only ones.
My parents are getting a membership, I think, pretty soon because they're at an age where they have to start taking care of their health. If not, kaput, you know? So they want to get more physically agile to build their heart and stuff like that. So I might join with them. They're like, well, if you guys pitch in, like, you know, we'll all use the membership and we can go. It's like a family pack sort of thing.
That's cool.
And I'm tempted to do it, but I don't know. Having people stare at you too while you're doing weights.
And then you don't really know like what routine you should be doing because you know how everybody has like arms day, back day, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know any of that. I'll probably just sit on this machine, do that, and then maybe jump to that one.
I remember when I was going to the gym for a little bit, and occasionally you would have an immature person that would like look at you or say something stupid, but for the most part, everyone's like focused on their own thing.
Yeah,
like you can be working
friendly.
out or you can be running on a treadmill and they might have a TV or music for you to listen to, and then there might be someone over in the corner doing some kind of like weightlifting machine. If you're like in the moment and you're working out, like you don't even realize the other person, and it's kind of the same thing for them to you. Like they don't really focus on you unless, you know, I was at there one time and there was a pretty heavy set guy. Like he was there when his goal was to lose like 300 pounds. And there was a group of young kids that came in and they kind of laughed at him. And then they like kept on looking over by him. And you could tell like he was glancing over at them every once in a while, like, oh, are they still looking? Like, so you get that every once in a while, but it's not really a big issue there.
Yeah, and the thing is like
and
you
they'll
go
kick
there
you out
because
if you go too far with it.
Yeah, the thing is you're there because you're fat, because you're not in shape. I'm not in shape. I need to get in shape, but you know.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say you guys are in shape.
Yeah. Well, Tyler, your shape is, you know,
I bet,
you're literally
I bet everyone
shape.
I bet any of our listeners think we're like 300 pounds.
I mean, we have photos over on our Instagram, so give us a follow and a like. It's the amateur hour underscore. So, you know, which is, I got to take a picture for this one because, you know, we were talking about my mustache last time. So
Is it gone?
What?
Oh.
No, my mustache.
It's still there, but he did grow in everywhere else because he
Yeah,
grows
I know.
too fast.
My beard's growing in already, so we gotta take this quick before I have to even it out.
We're gonna have to force him to shave on break.
Right? I mean, it wouldn't take me that long too. But yeah, no, like gyms were. The thing is like you have certain days, but I don't know. Going back to gym at our high school, I remember we just went on every single machine. It was like, what, 30 seconds a machine or like a minute a machine?
Yeah, it was like a circuit.
Yeah, and then we'd go and literally we worked our whole bodies out. Not just one little day of arms specifically. We did our whole body and like we did.
Well, didn't they alternate the free weights and the machines? I think one day one group had the free weights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe it went back and forth.
But still, you had to do exercises that were specific to, like, we'd do the
Actually,
step-ups.
it wasn't even every day. I think it would alternate between one day this and then the next day we'd play like some sport or something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you remember badminton?
Oh hell yeah, man! I remember badminton.
Dude, I was terrible
So,
at it.
going back, I hope you at home know what badminton is, but badminton's, you got a birdie, a rack. Think of tennis, but with a higher net and with this oddly shaped, how do you explain that? Like a birdie, I don't know, like a bird almost.
It's a little ball with a skirt that keeps it straight when it's flying.
Better. There you go.
But aside from that, that's what we played. But you also got to think about, okay, we were a couple of the class clowns. So there was sports to play, and some days you were like, oh, I actually want to play this and have a little bit of fun with it. But then there was most days where we were like, let's see how high this bird can fly. Well, let's see if we can
To
get
be
it to...
honest, though,
Me and Justin were very serious in our badminton.
getting
Well,
back,
Justin wasn't serious when me and Justin played.
Yeah, I can see that.
getting back to like the story and how me and Junior, when we got to badminton, listen, we grew up with this. This was like this was my childhood. Like as a kid, I was always playing badminton. I was training for badminton. So when me and Junior got together, and this was like a sport that we both were good at, so we're like, you know what? Let's take this seriously. We had that championship. I don't know if you remember, and winner, versus our coach, our gym teacher. And so we were in like a tournament circuit, and we were just winning. Every time me and Junior would go, we were making calls. We were hitting. We're so organized. It was insane. Like Junior, I think you were good at spiking it. Was it?
I don't know. Maybe.
He was really good at spiking.
I remember when me and you played against the time, we always tried to spike on each other. Like I would run up to the net and just be like, whoop-ah!
Yeah, me and Tyler. Yeah, it was a different sort. We would have fun. But when it was me and Junior,
serious gaming between Justin and Junior, having fun and bullshitting Justin and Tyler.
Yeah, I guess it shows you like our dynamic of how we are. But so me and Junior, we actually got to that game with Zany, and we lost. We lost. It was one man, two people, and we sucked when it came to that. I don't know if it was because we were nervous or.
You made it there.
Yeah, but we made it there, and we were one of the first to make it there. I don't know. All I know is we're pretty damn proud, and we're still proud of that because no one really beat us at badminton. Like we were just on point, and you had these athletic guys that were like trying so hard, and they'd get pissed off if they would miss something, or they would have a horrible game, or like they were just showboaty.
The ones that were in the sports or the preps of the class.
Yeah, it was. Oh my gosh.
We won't mention any names there.
I feel like one of them, I remember ripping the racket on the ground, and just like out of anger.
Yeah, because they were pissed off because we whipped them. the Mexican Puerto Rican team.
Yeah, the Mexican team is laying it down, man.
The Mexicans. We came in there and we dominated. Let me tell you. I mean,
I remember one time when I was facing you, like we both ran up to the net because we both wanted to like spike at the same time, and the bird's there, and we just like smashed our things together, and like one of them went through the other one, and we were just like, oh. Yeah. So we nonchalantly like walked over and placed it back and grabbed a new one.
Yeah, we kind of broke it. We were kind of wild. I mean, it wasn't my racket. I didn't care. It was fun. I remember one student getting tangled in the net because they tried jumping over or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
He knocked down the net. He got sent to the office and whatnot, and one of those crazy stories where we kind of get wacky and wild with it, I guess. I mean, going back to the jocks, we had a few people that just were so headstrong. Why are jocks a thing? Why is it because you're good at a sport? You think you're like a better than someone else. Oh, I'm physically, I have all these physical attributes. I'm going to be mean or something like that. Like, I don't know. I think I
drink milk every day.
Right? My dad.
I drink milk every day, and I think it might just add to this.
My dad tells me he hates me because he wants me to be better at sports. I remember a lot of times.
I always hated is the people that were on the sports teams. They were, for some reason, treated better in class.
A little bit.
Depending on the teacher, of course, but if you needed like a little bump in your grade or some stupid reason to get extra credit, if they were in sports, it was a lot easier.
When we got football, that became a thing. When we
got football in senior year.
Yeah.
Right? Meanwhile, every school around us had football.
Yeah, and we were like the only team, and then we did good for a little bit, and then they got demolished afterward because then you got kids that didn't really care too much for the sport.
Well, you have schools where they played for 4 years and they trained in football their entire high school career, and then you have us where we're just like, hey, we have a football team now and we're brand new.
Yeah, it was sad. It was very sad. But going back to
I wouldn't say sad because it was a pretty good accomplishment for the school to get a football team back, but we weren't ready to face other schools.
Yeah, I don't know. Our high school is weird.
Very weird.
Our high school was very different.
Our high
Yeah.
school was a middle school and high school.
Yeah, that was, and then it just became high school, and we got shafted because we had to share the halls, the lunchroom, and everything with high schoolers. Meanwhile, they got their whole new school and swimming team and all that.
Yeah.
Oh, and then when the middle schoolers all finally moved out, all of a sudden half the building was empty and we never filled it again.
Exactly. I
So
was
it's like you would be going from one class to the other and you just walk through this dark, empty hallway.
yeah, it got kind of like creepy after.
I
a while.
remember it was like impossible for me to get an art class, and I needed the art class to get my credit to graduate and whatnot.
Yeah.
That was stupid.
I hated the art class. A lot of times I ditched my art class.
I liked it. I don't
Like,
know.
Who was the teacher for the graphic design teacher?
Oh, Mr. Spencer?
No, that was the
Mrs.
cool one. Those were the cool ones.
Mrs. Spencer, she was the drawing.
Miss
Yeah,
Miss
that's the one
Spencer
I
was
took.
all the like non-computer stuff.
Are you
and then
talking about the
Mr.
new one?
Spencer, yes, the new one.
Oh, I forgot his name,
Oh,
but I
yeah.
ditched his class so much.
I had to take his class and I never showed up. Like, I would go into his class and get the assignment, and then I would go to the lunchroom and like just bullshit with other friends.
Yeah.
And then I would come back like 15 minutes before the end of class. I'd log into the server, and my sister was in that class, and then I had another friend that was in that class, and I would log into the server and take their work and just change the colors and like manipulate it like a little bit, and then just submit it. And he would still give me an A, even though I wasn't there.
He would try his best to try and get everyone interested in art, but he was just so bad at.
Nobody was interested.
He was so bland. He was such a bland teacher that I didn't care anything he had to say. A lot of times I would say, I have to go to the bathroom. He'd fill out a pass, and I was gone for the rest of the class. I would come back, and he would say, well, what were you doing? And I was like, well, I was taking a crap. I told him, and I would sit down. And everyone would look at me and, like, giggle and stuff, but I was like, I literally just didn't care. A lot of times.
He actually gave up on me because I told him, like, I did the work. Why do I gotta be here? And he was like, because you have to be here in class for attendance. And
A
I was
lot
like,
of
I was just
times-
down the hall. It doesn't matter.
A lot of times I would sneak into my old English class where Junior was at, and I would bother that teacher because I didn't care about that art class. It was my senior year, and that was a
Yeah.
class I did not care about. I was just like, no. I mean, I did good. All I had to do was my homework. He never said anything about showing up.
Yeah, I don't understand how I didn't fail that class. I passed that class with like a B, and all I did was steal my sister's work, or I don't know,
That's okay.
another kid in there. I just stole his work.
Yeah, like there was. I remember before that though, you had like I think you needed 2 art credits.
Something like that.
Yeah, because I had a one.
I
with-
think they dropped one.
Yeah, I had one with like Miss Spencer, and it was my sophomore year, and we had to draw self portraits. Now I'm not. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Mr. and Mrs. Spencer were really awesome
Yeah,
teachers.
but I wasn't one to. I'm not a drawer at all. I'm horrible. So I literally, at the time, I had a faux hawk, right? And a faux hawk, for those of you who don't know, it's like a mini mohawk, but not really.
Comes out to a point in the front.
Yeah, it kind of comes
Yeah.
out to a point.
I
and
remember
that.
that.
Was my old style. That's like, I mean, I was getting a haircut the other day. Sorry, side story. And the hairdresser who was cutting my hair, she was like,
That was
why
back
don't
when
you
I
go
had the
and
really
do
long
this?
hair.
And she puts it up to the faux hawk. And I was like, I used to have it that way. No, thank you.
Well, you went a little extreme with it because you had like just a straight shark fin.
That was-
and it was
That
tall,
was when
too.
I first started doing it in like 8th grade. But as I got older, it got shorter and it got a little bit better looking. But anyway, going back to it, my sophomore year, which is when the faux hawk was a bit better, I had to draw a self-portrait. So what I did is I drew a circle head, as one would, a triangle hairpiece, And you know, like how they just you do the swoop for the shoulders, and I did like a banana mouth and like a triangle nose, and she showcased them in her little like that glass opening where you can
Right
showcase like
outside the
stuff.
class, yeah.
And I showed Junior one day. I was like, Junior, look, that's my self portrait. It looked nothing like me. It just looked like some 5-year-old drew it, and I was like, that's as great as I can draw. And she would look at me and she was like, good work, like with a question on her face. And I was like, I told her I can't draw. This is it. A lot of times in that class, I would go to her husband's class because, for those of you who don't know, the classes were connected next to each other, and
Yeah,
like it had a door in the middle.
Oh yeah,
And
she
you
just left
could-
it unlocked. Like you just got up and walked over there.
Yeah, and actually, your sister and Eugene was in the next class, so I would sneak over and I would sit there and I would just talk to the both of them. and then the white, like, Mr. Spencer did not care, and this is her husband. He didn't care if I was there, and he knew I wasn't supposed to be there. His wife came in one day. There was like this big bin for like paper. And I went behind that big bin when she came in looking for me. She's like, Miss, she wouldn't call him husband or hubby or whatever. She would just say, hey, Mr. Spencer, like, have you seen Justin? And he's like, I don't know. I haven't seen him. Meanwhile, I dipped behind this bin, and she was like looking for me, and then she would just go right back into her class. And last 30 minutes, I would sneak right back in. And she knew, obviously, I was gone, but, I would act like I wasn't. It was hilarious. But, going back to, I think we've had a few close encounters with people trying to fight us back at gym. I don't know if you remember any of them.
Yeah, for you, I do.
The one time where...
Nobody would fight me.
I think we all were at that point, or maybe I don't know if it's the age or something, but you just want to get into a fight just to say you're into a fight. But we had like one kid, and I forgot the reason why, but I started mocking him, and then he was like, why don't you shut up? I said, I don't know, why don't you shut up? And then he was like, quit making that noise. And I started making a noise, and then he's like, bro, I'm gonna fight you. I think you were there for that one.
Probably.
And I was sitting there, and he was just straight up, trying to fight me, but I'm just mocking him the whole time and just copying him and just making him look stupid because I'm doing something stupid, and he's trying to fight me for it. I think that it was
there.
you. And then for Junior,
Because I was sitting right next to you just laughing at him.
there was this kid, I wouldn't say bully, but I would make fun of people, especially if they deserved it. There was this kid, and, I called him a monkey. And he came up to my face one day. Now Junior was there for this one.
Is this the one I'm thinking?
The
one we always made the John Deere joke.
Yeah,
Is that him?
Oh, yeah.
John Deere. He looked like a monkey. I would make fun of him because he was a doucher. He was very mean.
Oh yeah,
He was a very mean kid. So I made fun of him one day, and I called him a monkey, and it got to him. So he had heard from another student prior, and he comes in. I'm changing into my gym uniform. We're in the locker room, and we're just chillaxing. I'm talking to Junior, and then this guy comes up to me. He's like, hey, he's like, I heard you were calling me a monkey. I said, yeah, so what? I said, yeah, so what? He's like, why don't you come here and fight me? I was like, now, mind you, I'm like, what, like 3 feet away from this guy, maybe 2 feet. I'm really not that far from him. And he's like, come right here in the square, and I'm going to fight you. I said, what do you want me to do? Kiss you? And everyone literally started laughing at this kid. And, like, the fight never happened because the kid made himself look so stupid. And it just seems so weird that it just never happened. I don't know. I don't remember Junior almost getting into it.
Nah, there was one time in, like, 8th grade where, I don't know, the dude was just, like, being stupid. He rode your bus.
Oh, was it Vinny?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He tried to fight everyone.
Yeah,
he tried to
so
fight me.
It's just, I don't know. I think fighting's kind of stupid, so.
Yeah.
I punched him in the face once.
Yeah. That I remember that one.
His head went right back into his locker.
And that, yeah, it was
Like
hilarious.
he's just giving me lip, and then he's just like not shutting up. I'm like, bro, shut up, or I'm gonna hit you in the face. He's like, you ain't gonna hit me in the face, and I hit him right in the fucking face.
Yeah, we were riddled with bullies for a while, and that was just so annoying. But I mean, it's because everyone had that spirit to fight.
Yeah.
Why? I don't know. I said, I
I
felt
never
victim.
tried to fight anyone, but if it ever like came close to it, nobody wanted to fight me.
Yeah, I came close, and I was just like, well, then just do it. Like that Vinny kid. One day I remember.
I was in one fight, but it wasn't even high school. It was middle school, and it was the time that I had to go to summer school to
Yeah.
get an extra.
That wasn't middle
credit for
school.
the
That
next.
was 5th grade. We got into a fight. Do you remember that? Me
I thought
and
it
you
was
were in there.
sixth.
Me, you, Alton, and Jackie.
It was
And,
fifth. I thought it was
that
sixth.
that
well,
was
whatever.
5th. Yeah,
Kid's name was Doug,
yeah,
and he's just talking crap to me and all my friends, and I'm
yeah.
like,
He was like,
I'm trying to be doing it the right
Yeah,
way and
and-
just say like, hey, back off, quit saying all
yeah.
this
And
crap.
to put it into context, we were at the other elementary school.
Yeah.
We were all going. So it was his home turf. So he was trying to make fun of us and like tease us.
Well, I'm trying to let it go. And, the recess or whatever is over. So we're walking back inside the building. And this guy has the nerve to come up and punch me straight in the back.
Mm-hmm.
I turned around and I grabbed his shirt and I flipped him around as hard as I could. And I smashed his face on a steel pillar that was like holding up the
Yep.
playground. And then he still gets up and tries again.
Yeah.
And
And
then-
he probably should have figured it out because you were like 25 at that point.
Yeah, full mustache. I wouldn't. I guess it's like one of those things where, like, you
I
know
was
what? You
always-
knock out the biggest kid.
I was always bigger than everyone, and yes, I did have facial hair at that point for some reason. But yeah, I mean, why would you pick me?
You were like,
I literally
you were like
picked him
10
up.
years older than like your actual age.
Well,
Yeah.
he thinks because he's like, if I take out the biggest one, the rest of them will stay back. You know.
I don't know. I think there might have been something a little wrong with him because even after that, he was still picking fights all the way
Oh
up into
my
high
gosh,
school.
with the biggest kid there,
Oh,
yeah, and
Yeah.
Who was the other? Remember when we had to go to that one class where this was in middle school for sure, where we weren't allowed to circulate. We had one teacher that taught us all our
Yeah.
classes.
going back to episode.
It was the guy,
I
not
think
Miss
2,
Moeller. It was
3?
a guy.
Yeah, it was Mr. Nelson's class.
Yes, Mr.
That
Nelson.
was 7th grade.
He was in that class with us too, and he still tried to fight me all the time.
I don't even
And then one
remember
day
who
it was me, him, and Jackie. Because you remember how we put our desk in like little groups of 3
Yeah.
where we'd all face each other? Well, it was me, him, and Jackie. And he just keeps on like saying stupid things to Jackie, and Jackie kept on telling him to shut up. And I'm like,
Yeah.
bro, you're being annoying. She told you to stop. Why won't you just stop? And then he's like, I don't have to stop. Why would I have to stop? And I'm like, because she doesn't like it. So it gets to the point where he's like, he turns over to me and I'm like, bro, I'm going to smash your face on your desk if you start doing it to me. And he didn't stop. And what did I do?
Yeah.
I took his back of his head and just went boom. And then I took his desk and I flipped it up backward.
It was pretty hilarious.
Mr. Nelson actually laughed.
Yeah, it
He
was.
fell out of his chair laughing.
Yeah, because it looked hilarious.
It looked
You were
hilarious.
you were
and
flinging this
and-
kid's head around.
And Mr. Nelson was like, I have to send you to the office because that's what we're supposed to do. But he deserved every bit of that.
Yeah, he was a very cutthroat teacher, man. Like, he didn't care. He'll tell you if you were stupid
And then
or if
who-
you're annoying.
Who was the other kid? I think his name was Robert. Remember the kid that had the really long hair, like down past his shoulders? He didn't
Was
give
it
a crap about
Robbie?
anything. I think
Robbie.
it was Robbie.
Yeah, it was Robbie.
Doug came up to him and punched him in the face like
Oh.
6 times, and he just stood there and did nothing.
I think that was Ruben, actually.
No, it wasn't Ruben.
No. So then it was probably Robbie.
It was a skinny, tall kid. Ruben was like a little chub ball.
Yeah, it was probably Robbie. Robbie was a wild one, too, though. He was crazy.
He would
He
not.
was like the Tasmanian
He's the one that
devil.
jumped the net.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was one of those
Yeah.
kids that never listened and thought he was above everyone.
He was a wild
But
one.
then he also like knew his limits. Like when Doug came up and punched him in the face repeatedly, he stood there and took it, and you could hear the fist to face contact. Like, it was just like over and over and over. And he just stood there and everyone was laughing. And then Mr. Nelson was like, okay, you know where to go.
Yeah, there was a lot of fights in that 7th grade class. I didn't have that much in the 8th grade class because we were all just horsing around. But
you had a few just straight up assholes.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had the class clowns like me and Justin.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't care if that's not a good title to take. I will take it. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, no. In high school, I was a kid.
I had my fun, and I passed high school, so I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. At this point, we're like,
I have earned the right to embrace that.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that was an insane time. A lot of fights.
What is going to happen
I
if
remember,
you put all those kids in one
I
room?
remember, like, me and Junior had this thing where if there was going to be a fight, like, we would tell each other.
I remember that.
Like, I remember I went into, I think it was, like, business class one year. I was like, Junior, there's about to be a fight, dude.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, come out. And Junior's like, what? I'm like, get your things. Let's go.
We all did that. Like, we would literally just open that teacher's door.
That was the time the dude got body slammed, too.
Body slam. That was the greatest fight I have ever seen. That kid did not, like, we didn't even expect it. It was just like swing, swing. The kid dodges him, goes around his back, picks him up, and just body slams him like he was in the WWE. I was like, oh. And he hit the lockers as he was body slamming him.
I remember that. He had a black eye for a while,
Biggs?
too.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. That was insane.
Was that when we had Mr. Biggs?
I think so.
Yeah. It was
I
insane.
remember one fight that broke out, and Mr. Biggs was going up to try to break it up, and he got punched straight in the side of the head. Like, almost knocked out.
The
he was
principal's
all
life, man. The principal's life having to go in there and stop the fight.
And deal with all these puberty enraged children.
This
They're just
principal,
swinging at anyone.
to be fair, this principal even, I don't think he made it through puberty and rage because he had some issues with himself.
He was a nice guy.
He was nice, but he did not handle things well.
He was one of my favorites. He let me get away with a lot. I just had to say what I did, and he was like, "All right."
You remember when I had to pick you up because you missed the bus?
No,
Yeah.
the one time my cousin, this is when Josh came to our school.
I'm sorry, I can't get over that story. He's like, where are you? What do you see? I see a long driveway.
You know what? Let me let's stop the stories here for break, and we'll continue off with Tyler's story, and then we'll get into the story of Junior having to pick me up.
A little sneak peek here. Justin, if you ever had to ask him for directions or where he's at or what a street name is, he couldn't tell you.
All right, so enjoy a word from our sponsors. Get high-quality XLR cables from EBXYA. EBXYA makes keeping track of your cables easier by delivering 6 different color coding options. Their cables are made with a durable metallic connector, which allows your cable to last longer. Their cables are also made with a flexible, durable PVC jacket cable, imported with remarkable tenacity, elasticity, waterproof, mold-proof, and anti-cracking. Keep your sound intact and search EBXYA on Amazon today.
Hey, Justin, you like to sing, right? Give us a little something.
Hey!
You need to take that over to Lofty Cat Studios. You can record that kind of music there. They got drum kits, acoustic pianos, Fender and Martin guitars. They can help you get your music on all streaming platforms and get you some CDs made.
So Tyler, continue with your story before I tell mine.
So the one time, I was in the graphic design class with the teacher that we can't remember the name of, but he was like really weird and wasn't great at teaching. So I always skipped out on his class. Well, the one time my cousin, he decided that he was going to, I can't remember if he said something stupid to me or he did something stupid and I found out about it. Anyway, I went down to the lunchroom because I knew that was his lunch period. And I grabbed a tray of food, paid for it, and then I went and sat down my cousin. I'm like, listen here, motherfucker. And then Mr. Biggs comes up, and he's like, whoa, you are out of control. We can't have this in our lunchroom right now. You need to go. So I'm like, what do you mean? All I said was, listen here, motherfucker. And he's like, one, you're not supposed to be here. Two, you're mentally out of control right now, and you just need to wait right here. I'm gonna have someone escort you back to the office. I get back to the office, and then an officer takes me to a room, like a classroom that we don't use, turns on the lights, goes in there, and sits down with me, and then locks the door behind me.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, what? And you're gonna like put me in confinement for the rest of the school day because I told my cousin to listen here, motherfucker. I didn't even touch him.
He's like, you're out of control. We gotta do something about this.
So I'm talking to Mr. Biggs because he comes down to the classroom like a little bit later. I'm like, yo, can I at least get my work so I can get things done? And he's like, you don't have to worry about it. We'll just excuse you for the day. You needed a minute to calm down. And I'm like, calm down for what? And then after he leaves and goes back to the office, I'm talking to the police officer, and he's like, yeah, I don't know why we're here either. This is just what he asked me to do, so we're doing it. So, needless to say, we just spent the rest of the school day bullshitting, doing whatever we wanted. He pulled up some kind of app on his phone, and we were literally watching TV. And then it was he said if he had an Xbox that we would just sit there and play games because he felt like it was entirely pointless for me to be there with him. So I'm like, yeah, thanks, Biggs. Like, cool, you excused me from all my work and I didn't have to make up for it for some stupid reason. But like, why even waste my day like that?
Yeah, Biggs was a weird principal. Definitely very weird. Like I said, if I was in the office, because I was in the office,
he did not know the difference between important things and not important things. Like Justin couldn't ever shut up, and he'd get sent to the office. And what would you get, like a detention or some ridiculous thing?
Actually, when it was Mr. Biggs, I would never get in trouble because he would sit me in the office. He was like, Justin, tell me what you did. I was like, well, I was talking too much in my class because, let's say, for instance, I thought of a funny joke and I wanted to tell it. Or I just wanted to talk to so-and-so and so-and-so. And he would just be like, okay, you can go. Or he'd be like, well, what'd you do? I once was down there for ditching class. And he was like, I heard you ditching class. I was like, yeah. And he's like... So he's like, what are you going to do about this? Well, I shouldn't ditch class. I'm sorry I ditched class. So, I don't know what you want to do. If you want to give me detention, you could, I guess. And I was like, playing this role where I was just admitting what I'd done. And he's like, okay. He's like, you know what? Just don't do it again. You're fine. I was like, okay. He's like, you're a good
Needless to
kid.
say, you did it multiple times after.
Yeah, I did it a couple times after, but no one just reported it. But
back to our last episode where we trash talked one of the teachers because she picked favorites and didn't teach, and you can go to the last episode to learn more about that. But Mr. Biggs was principal during that time, and I went to the office multiple times for that because we would have a outrage in the class because she's not teaching or she's refusing to help me or other students. And then it would get to the point where, like, you know what, go to the office. So I'm like, okay, whatever, here we go again. And Mr. Biggs was like, what happened this time? And I told him exactly what happened. The teacher's not teaching. She's refusing to help me. She's doing all this. And I was like, well, what do you mean? The teacher's not going to refuse to help you. And then I'm just like, okay. Well,
yes, she did.
She did, and then he's like, well, you know what, this is happening too much. We're going to have to call your mom and see if there's anything else we can do because this isn't working out. And this was the funniest thing ever. My mom answers the phone, and Mr. Biggs is like, so I have Tyler here in the office and blah, blah, blah. And my mom's like, okay, so get to the point. You're wasting my time right now. And then he says something about Miss Mozak and how she's not teaching. And then my mom, these are the words that came out of my mom's mouth on speaker. Now, I'm going to say right now, my mom does not like this principal. She was like, "You are an asinine fuck. You need to stop wasting my time, send my kid back to class, or take him out of the class because the teacher is also an asinine fuck." And I'm sorry for the F-bombs, but I'm just saying that's exactly how it came out of my mom's mouth.
I mean, I could see her saying that.
She did. She totally tore him a new one right there over the phone and just flat out told him, "I don't care what you're saying to me right now."
What I hated was when I had Miss Mozak, it was like when Miss West was principal. And when it got to her, she was like, there's no games. I would go in for talking. All right, detention. I was like, oh. I was like, excuse me?
Well, Miss West, for one, she had to prove a point.
Yeah.
Because Mr. Biggs didn't do anything. Nobody took authority to him. The school as a whole, for like punishment or whatever you want to say, the school would get everyone would get away with way too much. So Miss West had to come in and like really put her foot down, and she wasn't a bitch at all. She was a nice lady. But when it came down to punishment or you doing something wrong, she had to act like a bitch and she had to take control. Otherwise, she would have never survived. But then after she kind of took her place and the students realized who she was and what she's there for, it's like we regained control of the school and everything was slowly going back to normal. And then she turned out to be really nice and actually a pretty cool lady.
Right. Well, you know what? She gave me a lot of detention, so there's that.
Well, we would always be doing stupid things where you might deserve a detention.
Actually, it was just talking my senior year. I chilled out when it came to my senior. The max I did was make my teacher cry for telling her I'm not going to do work.
That was the weird thing. Being in isolation that one day, that was honestly one of the only days that I actually got in trouble, and it was because of the stupidest reasons.
Yeah.
After that, I literally told Mr. Biggs to fuck off, like to his face, like shut the hell up. I don't want to deal with you. We're not talking. I don't care if you're my principal. I don't care what you want to do, but this is how it is. So, like, I didn't respect him at all because of the way he treated me.
Yeah.
Well, but then I don't know. I've never really had, aside from Miss Mozak, of course, I've never had a problem with any of my teachers. All my teachers always liked me. I never really got detentions. And times where I should have gotten detention, the teacher just, it was more like a personal understanding where, like, okay, you messed up. I'm not going to give you a detention because I already talked to you. So what's the detention going to do? I've always had that with my teacher. So it's like I was being immature and enough to be getting in trouble for. But at the same time, my teacher was like, you're mature enough to where we can just settle this and handle it now.
I wish I had that, but they just send me to the office, write me up a detention just for talking or anything else I would do. And that was it. None of my teachers really, I didn't have really a lot that liked me, I would say. And not for reasons that I would just horse around. Sometimes it would just be just because, like, Miss Mozak was just like, why? I think Miss Duffy was another one who didn't like me. But
I know Miss Duffy didn't like me, but she was one of the teachers that was, like, straight with me, and instead of giving me a detention or doing something like that, she was actually one of the teachers that would work with me. So I don't know.
You had this luck.
I don't know why it was like that, because I didn't, like, suck up to any of the teachers. I guess I'm just easy to get along with, maybe.
Well, I can contest that. I'm just kidding. But anyway, I want to get into our story that me and Junior were talking about.
Go ahead.
So I'm a person that I'm usually not on time. Or at least back then I was never on time. I would take the bus. I didn't have a car. I had no car. It was just, it was high school. My mom's like, well, no, you don't get a car. You don't get to take our car. good luck. Either you get the bus, or if you miss the bus, let me tell you, in my household, there's no such thing as not going to school. You could be sick. You could lose an arm. It doesn't exist in my house. My house, you get, the papao, the whooping.
I remember the one time you actually showed up a couple periods late because you and your brother walked to school.
Yeah, well, I'm getting into it.
But anyway, keep going.
So, I would always miss the bus. And as Tyler said, yeah, you know what? Let me tell you, I didn't have, I guess, my brother was a good older brother. He would tell me not to be as hyper. He was a good person to look up to. But when it came to catching the bus, he was not someone to look up to because he was always missing. And one time, me and him missed the bus where we had to walk. Actually, we jogged all the way from my house to high school. Now, it's not a close jog. It's a couple of miles. And I made it at the end. I didn't miss a couple of periods. I made it at the end of Mr. York's class. I don't know if you remember that at all.
Yeah.
And I came in breathing heavy, and then afterwards he's
I
like,
made it.
yeah. He's like, what? And I had the rocks in my shoe, and I took my shoe off, and I was shaking my shoe, and then there were new shoes, by the way. There were Etnies at the time, like when Etnies and, all those brands were like super big. But I was like dumping out my shoe. Everyone's staring at me like, what are you talking about? And then I told my teacher, I was like, I ran all the way here, and he's like, speak to me after class. After class happens, he's like, so you want to join cross country? I was like, oh, no. He's like, because that's impressive. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. It sounds horrible. Short shorts and my hairy legs? No, thank you. But anyway, going back to it. So we were always late. So now I have friends. I have friends like Junior who had a car and had the ability to drive to high school. And one day I missed the bus. And you know what? I said, I'm not going to walk. There's no way in hell I'm going to run like I did last time. I'm either going to get there, tomorrow or or in a couple of hours at the end of the school time. So I called Junior. Phone rings. I said, Junior. He's like, hey, what's up? I'm like, so can you pick me up? He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, I'm on the side of the road, and I'm down 41, which is a busy, busy road. It's almost, I wouldn't say like a highway, I guess, but cars are going like 45, 50 usually.
On that section, they're going like 70.
Yeah. they're going mighty fast, and I'm sitting there.
They're supposed to do 55.
I'm sitting there, I'm like, you know what? I'm freaking, 17 at the time, I think, and I'm like, I'm not walking all this way. He said, Junior, come pick me up. He's like, well, I don't know if I can do that. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I don't know. I think I got to ask permission once you're in the school. I don't think you can leave. I said, no, just come pick me up. Don't say anything. Just walk out and then come back in. No, man, I'm going to have to ask. I was like, oh, okay. He's like, oh, there's our principal, Mr. Biggs, the guy we're talking about now. He was a big deal. But anyway, so Junior puts him on the, Junior says, hey, can I pick up my friend or whatever? He's like, let me talk to him, Mr. Biggs says. So then Mr. Biggs gets on the phone. He's like, hey, Justin, so Junior here informed me that you missed the bus. I said, yeah. He's like, so, how are you going to get here? I said, Mr. Biggs, well, I'm walking on the side of the road, and I was wondering if I can have some help, and he could pick me up because he has a car. And then he's like, okay. He's like, well, I don't know if I can have him do that. I said, Mr. Biggs, please, I don't miss the bus often. Well, that was a lie. I said, I don't miss the bus often. I don't want to be late. Please, my mom's going to whoop my butt if I don't get there. So he's like, you know what? Okay. He's like, I think I might send him, but first, I need to know where you're at.
Wait, didn't he want to send like the cop car?
Actually, yeah, never mind. He wanted to send the security car, Officer Linder, I think his name is. And he's like, we're going to have him pick you up. Where are you? I'm like, what do you mean where I'm at? I'm on the side of the road. He's like, no. Where are you? Now, I'm not good at giving directions at all. I could only give sites. I was like, at the time, the area where I'm walking past, there's houses on the side, but they got these long driveways. So I told him, I was like, he tells me, what do you see right now? I was like, I see a road. some trees. I said, to my right of me, there's this place with a long driveway.
Meanwhile, did you miss the bus because you were high? That's probably what Mr. Biggs was thinking.
Right? And he's like, well, what do you mean by long driveway? I'm like, well, it's a driveway that's very long. He's like, well, where are you? I'm like, I'm on the side of 41, Mr. Biggs. Now this much I know. He's like, but what do you mean on the side of 41? It doesn't sound like you know where you're at. I said, no, Mr. Biggs, I'm on the side of 41. He's like, no, it doesn't sound like you're on 41. I said, yes, I am. And we got into this huge argument. Not argument, but like this huge, disagreement about where I was when I knew where I was because I was there. Meanwhile, I had people pulling over the side of the road saying, hey, man, can I give you a ride? Dude, tatted up. Piercings on his eyebrows, piercing on his lip. He looked like he was going to murder me. It was this white truck, the trucks that, you could buy that bed that doesn't have the windows on the side. And I'm like, no,
I
know
was
where
just going to
this.
say as long as it wasn't a van with no windows,
No,
but that's
no,
kind of the same thing.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not getting picked up in this truck because then school's not a thing. Now I have something else to worry about. Senor Creepy Face. So anyway, and then another person, hey man, can I pick it until finally, my saving grace, this guy by the name of Austin. He went to our school. He pulled over on the side of the road. He's like, hey. He's like, Justin, right? I said, yeah, I went to elementary with you. What do you mean, Justin, right? Like, I know who you are. He's like, hey, you need a ride? I was like, yes, please, give me a ride. And then I told Mr. Biggs, sorry, I got to ride by. And I just hung up the phone and got in the car with this saving grace. And he drove me all the way to the school, had to go to the office, and then tell him that I was on 41 officially, and he was actually debating on giving me a detention. I was like, why? Oh, it was a deal. All right, it was a big old deal.
Yeah, Justin, he couldn't have been able to tell you, I just was on the corner of 109th and 41, and I'm going southbound. He couldn't tell you that.
Yeah, I don't know what south is.
It didn't make sense to him.
I don't know the compass, right? Not over here studying the sun and which way it, sets. It's not me.
So, I was watching this movie. Oh, it was yesterday. I went to Three Floyds, and they play older movies from the 80s or whatnot. And they started playing this one where this dude was just living with hundreds of lions, real actual lions. They're recording. There's just these lions running over each other, tigers running. I was just like, wow, this is really crazy. And it just makes you think of all the stuff they would do back in the day that definitely shouldn't have been going on.
Yeah, that doesn't fly now.
Yes. So I ended up Googling this movie. It's called, actually I Googled it by movie with man who lives with a bunch of lions. And it popped right up. It was first article that popped up, the most dangerous movie to be filmed. So
what?
Yeah, I forgot how many they had. I think they had 150. And they would film scenes and provoke these lions to fight with each other and whatnot.
What?
People were getting scalped because these tigers and lions would just run their claws across these people's heads, and I think one lady got bitten in the head.
Oh yeah. My gosh. Why would you film something like that?
They were wilding out back then.
Yeah, dude. And
well,
then
I guess if you really wanted something special, but you didn't have the special effects, you got to go to those extremes. But damn,
you have to go to the extremes. What? That's insane.
Yeah, there was
just risk everyone's life for a good movie. I
yeah,
guess.
so there's some of the scenes you see in the movie. They're bloody and whatnot, and they're actually have been attacked, and they're actually bleeding.
Oh my gosh,
that's crazy.
Someone ended up getting black gangrene from a bite. I've never even heard of black gangrene.
What is that?
But
is it tar in your body?
I don't know.
Leprosy? Is it something like that?
Yeah, but that movie was crazy.
I mean,
I didn't even understand the plot. Granted, there was no sound to it, so we were just watching it
So was it supposed to be like a guy just living with lions? Is that literally
He was
it?
just like a scientist living, and I guess his family wanted to visit him. So they came.
And his family got killed by lions.
I don't think I saw the end.
Yeah, I assume the kid got eaten.
It sounds like that's what it's leading up to. Like,
Right?
Like,
Like-
the film crew literally got killed by lions.
So in this Google search also, turns out it ended up like tanking in the box office. It was a super expensive movie. And then in the US, it didn't even get released till like 2015.
Wow.
30 years later.
30 years later?
Yeah.
That's probably because there was no point to the film.
No point and just absolutely ridiculous.
Man who lives with lions. Meanwhile, he's just poking it with a stick, trying to get it pissed off.
It didn't have sound.
I was, because I was in a bar, so they just had it playing.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, they always
That's
play
wild.
like movies from the 80s there.
But still, that's weird.
yeah.
I mean, why would you provoke lions
I mean,
to fight
that's
each
just
other?
crazy.
The whole creativity back then, like that genre of 80s, is just
was
interesting.
just
Like you had
wild.
RoboCop,
Oh,
which is just
it is.
people blowing up, and it's.
It was
I think it had
brutal.
an NC-17 rating, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was such a brutal movie, and I mean, I loved it. But at the same token, I'm just like, it was so cheesy, though. I mean, when you think about it now, you're
Yeah.
like, "Oops." But I think that's when they're getting wild, wacky and wild with their, their films, and like they're like, oh wow, we discovered gore. Let's throw it in there.
I remember watching the other a while back. It was on IFC or something. I want to say it was Weird Science, where they make the girls so she could be their boyfriend, or bleh, that came out wrong. That would be a movie now, but they made this girl so it could be these two dudes as girlfriend or something like that. And it's a PG
think
rated
I know what
movie.
you're talking about.
Yeah, and then there's one scene where this girl is like hanging on because like a tornado or something's like sucking them into something, and her shirt rips off. PG movie, you see boobs.
What?
I was like, whoa, okay. They were really wild back then.
I think that was before, they're really getting down and like, hey, you know what? 13-year-olds shouldn't see this.
I mean, it was
Right?
like a split second, but either way, it was like, whoa, okay.
Yeah, that I think that,
They released a movie and they forgot to cut that little segment.
yeah, maybe it was like an accident.
Nah, that was meant to be in
I
there.
mean, the scene sounds pretty deliberate.
Yeah.
I mean, that's insane. I mean, to be honest, like we were talking about in the third episode, we had like some 4-year-old kids showing up to our showing of the film, or like 6-year-olds and
Yeah.
kids whatnot. I mean, so I guess it's all up to the parents, to be honest.
I believe at some cases you should have a minimum age requirement.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Most definitely, because you don't know.
If you're going to an R-rated movie, the minimum age should be like 13, accompanied by an adult. And
When-
then obviously, what is it,
All right.
17 when you don't have to have an adult?
I got something we could fight about. Taking babies places. Are you with it? Or are you kind of like, come on, man?
How do you mean by taking babies? places?
Airplanes, movie theaters.
I have a 1-year-old, so go for it.
Oh, okay. Taking. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because on the flight, I remember coming back from Europe, I want to say, this kid is being terrorized. His ears are popping, and this baby doesn't know what's going on, so he's just going to cry the whole time. And then I had to deal with it, just
You know what?
trying to sleep.
I don't know. I'm 50-50. I guess if you have to bring your kid, I wouldn't bring my kid on an airplane.
Well, there's things you can do. Like, they have, I don't know, you can give the baby some, you probably shouldn't drug up your baby, but I've heard you can give the baby like a little bit of NyQuil, and it just helps it sleep. And then it can sleep most of the time on the plane, so that it doesn't have to go through that. But, I mean, that's up to the parent if you don't want to give your kid, sleeping drugs,
or
essentially.
ear damage.
Well,
You
it's
know.
not damaging your ear, but
Well, your
it's,
ears
your
pop,
ear's
yeah.
popping, and obviously a baby doesn't understand what's going on.
Yeah, and it's like it's pressure on their ears, and you know what? I would agree to a sense that you don't want to put them through that.
And then movie theaters, they're crying. The parents aren't able to
Oh
enjoy
my
the movie.
gosh. Yeah, and then they
That's-
got to
That's one
step
thing.
out.
See, mine is she's pretty good. She's usually quiet, and she's only 1 year old. She's usually quiet. She's a pretty good baby. But I don't think I would take her to a movie still. Because if something happened, craps her pants, I have to take her out, miss part of the movie to change it. Or if she does start getting fussy and everyone else has to hear it, I'm going to feel like I need to step out for a few minutes. Now I'm missing a movie. I inconvenienced the other people around me. I'm just not going to take her to a movie. Maybe when she's like 2 or 3 and I take her to a kid's movie, that would probably be good.
Yeah, I kind of feel like a jerk for saying it, but I feel like at a certain point you kind of just have to stick with the kid for a little bit and just wait it out. It sucks you can't do much, but...
No.
That's a part of being a kid.
I do
it's a
take,
baby,
when we go grocery shopping, I do take Chloe with grocery shopping. Sometimes she gets a little bit fussy in the cart, but for me personally, you can just give her something and it'll occupy her. Now, I know other kids aren't like that. Other kids, when they want to flip out, they flip out. Mine just doesn't do that much.
I guess a grocery store is kind of fine just because there's...
Well, grocery
it's
store...
pretty public. You go walk away from it.
Yeah, you can get away
right,
from that.
And I've taken her out to eat with us when we sat down somewhere to have dinner. But then again, like I said, she's not really that loud. She doesn't cry that much. It's basically like if she wants something or you're irritating her, she'll let you know. But it lasts, 3-5 seconds.
Yeah,
and then you can take control of it.
She's pretty calm.
Now, there's other babies where they just straight up scream and cry.
Oh, my gosh.
If I had one of those, I might not go to like a fancy restaurant or something like that.
I appreciate that.
Thank you, Tyler. You're considerate.
When I'm at a restaurant and I'm, let's say it's a quieter restaurant. It's a little bit. Let's go ahead and say like a Red Lobster, not high end, but you're not at McDonald's.
Yeah.
If you're there and you're eating dinner and you're enjoying it, and then a couple tables over, this kid won't shut up, or he's crawling all over the bench, or he's just crying, I don't want to hear that. But
I guess I should also point out I hate kids. So that
see, that's the thing is, we could get into that if anything. Junior does not like, he's not a kid guy.
I'm not against kids.
I like kids.
I like kids, but for me, it's the parents. Yeah. You have parents that do not control their kids, and their kids are wild and they're screaming and they're like yesterday at work. I was doing a job and the kid kept on coming up and touching my laptop. And like literally pressing buttons while I'm trying to work. And I said, whoa, little dude, you can't do that. Sorry. Like trying to be nice to the kid. And the mom doesn't do anything.
Yeah, she's just like, you know what? He's a child.
And then the kid goes over and like takes the lid off the trash can for some reason. Mom flips out, screams at this kid. I told you not to touch that. And blah, blah, blah. And like, screaming at this kid. And then he comes back over, and I have a sticky note stuck to my laptop.
Yeah.
That has, like, some numbers on it that are, like, new to me, so I have it on there. So when they ask for them, I can give them to them.
Yeah.
The kid takes my sticky note and runs away with it.
Uh-oh.
I'll trip him.
I'm just like, whoa, little guy, bring that back. And, he's like, no, I'm not giving it back.
Oh.
And I'm like, okay, I need that paper back.
So then Tyler was at a crossroads.
Oh, I'm sitting here battling between, like, debating, do I get... And it got to a point where I actually incompleted the job.
You're like, do I discipline the kid?
So I walked over to the kid. I grabbed the kid's arm. This could have gone very wrong if the parent wanted to say something. Because, I'm a technician going into someone else's house, and I just grabbed your kid.
Yeah.
So I didn't do anything to the kid. I grabbed the kid by his arm so he couldn't run away from me. I took the sticky note out of his hand and I placed it back on my computer and I let go. I didn't grab him tightly. I didn't jerk him around. I just took my paper that I needed my numbers off of and took it back. I was like, the parent isn't doing anything. The parent doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I need this paper. The kid won't give it back. The mom's on her phone, just bitching about everything because nothing's working for her. And then I get to the point where, like, you know what? We're going to reschedule. I can't handle your kid. You don't give a shit that I'm here. So, bye.
Yeah, I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
I mean, kids are, I don't know. I mean, your kid was touching my laptop while I'm trying to edit, but I don't care.
Well, another thing is
She deleted half a section and I
Oh.
almost lost it.
She loves keyboards, but did
She's
I
so
take
adorable.
my kid and set her to the side? So
Actually,
you
I
can-
kind of, I mean, I got like uncle status, so I like grabbed her hand. I was like, no, we don't do that.
Well, exactly.
I was like, no, and I moved her hand. But
What?
I thought that was hilarious yet scary because she deleted last episode a big section that took me such a long time to edit.
Luckily, on here, there's an undo.
Yeah,
My
I had
stuff
a,
at work, when this kid presses buttons, I don't have undo.
oh my gosh, my heart would drop.
you know what another thing is too is that I hate being dirty. I hate having dirty hands and whatnot. And kids are always dirty.
That's again a parent, man. They don't
Okay,
clean their kids'
Another thing I
face
do
or their
have to
hands.
complain about. Remember the one time we went to Wendy's, and there was this little the one mom that wanted to like outrage about not
Oh,
getting her
my
nuggets,
gosh,
and
yeah.
then she had this little kid that was only in a diaper.
She was just standing there.
But for a little bit, he was running around the floor and like being loud.
Yeah,
Like, come on, guys,
kids hitting people
Well-
and running away.
a little bit of control.
Yeah,
Like, don't take your kid and beat him and make him like not move, but grab your kid by the hand, bring him over, say stop, or pick him up for a minute so he calms down. Don't let him run around the restaurant in his diaper and nothing else and just scream at all the customers.
So you say you don't want, or you don't like kids, but would you want a kid?
Not right now.
Not right now. I mean, I wouldn't. I would see why not right now because I mean you're.
But do you want kids in life?
We'll see.
That's a maybe. Okay.
Maybe.
He's like accidents. They happen. No, I'm just kidding.
But so I remember there was this one time I was at a friend's house, and they're like, "Yeah, hold the baby, hold the baby." I'm like, "Nah, I'm okay.
I
I
don't like that.
don't want to touch your baby." And they like basically just shoved it onto me, and guess what it does?
Threw up.
It threw up right on me, and I was like,
Oh,
"This is
yeah.
exactly why I didn't want to hold this damn baby. I'm really mad right now."
Yeah.
But I gotta hide it, so I was like, ha, 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 ha.
You're like, I hate this.
I do not like that. If your kid is 2 or 3 years old, I'll interact with it. But if we're talking about like an infant or, still really young and you're forcing me to hold it, do not do that. I do not feel comfortable holding your child.
Scary. You could break it.
That's exactly what I told him. Like, I am not going to break your child.
Like I held my cousin's kid the day it was I was born or whatever. I came in and I was like, hey man, like how's it going? They're like, yeah, hold the kid. My mom gave me the kid. I was like,
Like, even
I don't want to drop it.
even with my own child, when she was born, obviously
You didn't touch it.
I did, but I was nervous
He's like,
because it like
It's
literally
like I slipped.
it literally just came out.
Oh,
So
man.
it's as fragile as it can be.
And
No.
gooey.
Ew. Ugh.
Oh, they wrapped it up with a towel and they cleaned it.
That's
Chloe-
gross.
Chloe actually
Give that baby a shower.
Can we talk about when babies first come out, how ugly they are?
Thank you.
Oh my
I don't get why. I
gosh.
don't know. I don't think kids are cute. No.
I think kids are cute like when they're like 1 or something. Like Tyler's kid, she's cute. But when it comes to like other like when they first come out, they're like mutants. They're sticky, placenta. Their faces are all mushed up.
I
Their
will
heads are
say-
weird shapes.
I will say when it happened and Chloe came out and she was covered and everything, that was gross.
I don't ever think.
Luckily for me, she had a little bit of complication. She had the umbilical cord.
Whoa,
around
you
her-
said lucky for you?
Well, she had the cord. It wasn't like
Lucky
around
for
her
me
neck
because the
chucking
umbilical
her.
cord wasn't
But the-
around my neck.
But the thing was, they had to take over. Like I was supposed to actually grab her and take her out, but
what
then the
kind of
doctor was
service
like,
is that?
and then the doctor was like, okay, step aside. We have to step in because it got serious. So I
Oh.
was like, okay, I didn't actually want to grab her because she was gross. So The umbilical cord wasn't tight to the point where she couldn't breathe, but it was around her neck. So the doctor did have to step in and take over.
Man, first off, what kind of service is that? You grab the baby when it comes out. Like, no, I would never.
Well, there's like a whole thing, right, where you want to be the first one to touch your baby because of like a scent thing, right?
They say skin to skin contact immediate after does. I don't know the technicalities of all that. I don't know.
Poke it and that's it. Poke it and run.
But I was like, I was a little bit nervous because they did say, okay, we have to step in because this is more serious. I was like, oh shit, what's actually happening? Because they didn't tell me, and I didn't know what was going on. I'm already like, I just watched her give birth, and I'm just sitting here like,
you're scarred from that.
Yeah, right. Like I'm in the moment, like, oh my gosh.
Oh my
and
gosh.
then
Okay.
the doctor's like, okay, we have to take over. So I'm like, oh shit, what's going wrong? Is everything okay? And then at the same time, I'm like, okay, that's fine, because that means they had to take the baby and they had to clean it up. And then after that, I was still nervous to hold it because of how new she is.
Dude,
but it was my kid, so I could do it.
Like, no kid, I'm sorry, no kid comes out looking cute. They're all ugly. People are going to be upset at me, and I know some people, but you know what? Sorry.
When it's not your kid, you think that every time. But when it is your kid, I can speak from personal experience. After she's cleaned off and wrapped up in a cute little white towel, because when she first came out, I was like, ugh. But after she's cleaned up and wiped in a nice clean towel and all wrapped up, you see the face for the first time. It's a whole different story when it's yours. You want to run? No, I'm just kidding.
Damn, you stink.
You know what? I'm a person that I get queasy around blood. This was like a new development.
Well, you might want to stay in the other room.
I became a bit of a hypochondriac in the last year, as well as queasy when I see blood. I never used to be that way.
I get the heebie-jeebies when I see like crazy stuff.
Yeah, now that
I don't have a problem with it.
Now that I had surgery on my toe one time. They put a shot. I started bleeding, and I started looking at the blood. And it was like a lot coming out, and then I started literally getting queasy. I wanted to throw up. So imagine me seeing my wife's birth. I'm sorry. The day I have a wife, they're gonna need 2 hospital beds because I'm literally gonna faint. I was close to fainting with seeing just a little blood from my toe.
Yeah, Justin had a hangnail that he had to have removed.
It wasn't a hangnail. It goes deeper into that.
Well, I had the same thing. But I was cheap and I didn't want to go to the doctor, and so I did it myself.
Yeah, mine was I guess in a way it's a hangnail, but the way you said it was light. It's more
more
severe.
Aggressive hangnail.
Yeah, it's more severe because then it starts pinching the nerves on my foot or on my toe, and it's like literally I could damage my nerve.
Yeah,
and it causes swelling and. I could. It's a shooting pain. It's like someone sticking a knife in your toe.
It's a little gooey too, huh?
It's very disgusting. I had kind of the same thing where my big toe was getting all fat and puffy, swelling up, and then I had the nail that was wrapping around and going down under where it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
So I was like, do I really need to go to a doctor for this? Because I had so many bills. I still had bills, and I just didn't want to pay any more money. So I got a X-Acto knife, and
it's getting graphic.
And then I got I don't know. Sarah had some some numbing stuff for something. It didn't work very well, but it worked a little bit, and I just kind of rubbed it around the edge. And
what a man!
It still hurt. If you would have seen me, you would have thought I was a little bitch.
No, I would have been freaked out.
Well, yeah, I cut your cubicle around the edge. I cut that out of the way, so that wasn't bad because it was your cubicle. Like you can take that and cut them off. There's not much feeling
cubicle.
There anyway.
Cuticle. Me and Junior were looking at each other like, should we correct him?
But I cut that off, and then I got some side cuts, and I clipped the side of my nail, and that was fine.
Side cuts,
like little like dikes. Little pliers that are just for cutting.
Oh my gosh!
But I had some
Tyler.
really short ones, so I just made a little snip, and then I got my tweezers and I wiggled my nail a little bit. I'm like, okay, this isn't so bad, So I'm like, all right, this is the piece that has to come out. So I gave it a little yank and it started to hurt. And I was like, oh, ouch. I don't want to do it anymore. But now my toe is like half cut apart. And I'm like, I have to finish.
Getting
So,
crazy.
yep. I closed my eyes and I held my breath and I just yanked it.
Yikes.
And it came right out. It felt like someone smashed my toe, like someone took a big boot and just stomped on my foot.
Oh.
And then I was like, ow. And it was bleeding just a little bit, not a lot. And then I just put some Neosporin on the top and wrapped the Band-Aid around my toe. And ever since I've been good.
Nice.
So I apparently did it right because it never got all pussy. It never got like infected or anything. It healed up. So I guess I did it right.
Oh.
But yeah, I was like, it got to that point where I was just too cheap to go to the doctor.
Oh, man, they cut half my toenail off, and then
Mine wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
Although if I let it keep going, it could have turned into that.
I mean, now mine's it's a-okay now.
Well, you actually had surgery from a doctor, so
yeah,
of course.
and my luck, it was like during the worst times of my life. Plus, then I was like, oh, okay, now I have to get a surgery on my toe. That's great. I was like, wonderful. I had the greatest of luck. But going back to kids, I couldn't see my future wife, whoever you may be. Sorry, dear, but I'm gonna faint. We have to pay for like 2 hospital beds.
See, me personally, I didn't feel like it was that bad.
Oh.
But my mom said that my face was like I was I don't know, not okay, maybe. So I could understand that.
I would be traumatized, man. I don't know how I would look at her the same after that.
Like my mom literally told me that she was trying to decide in her head if she needed to pull me away for a minute. But I was like, I'm trying to do this because this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
I'm picturing Tyler's like face of like.
Sorry, Mom. I've never seen anything like this before.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But like when I was thinking about it in my head, like, okay, things are going for the most part good, but we had a little bit of complication, like I said.
In my head, I'm like, is it? I would be like, is it going good? Is this how it's supposed to happen?
Well, we had a room full of doctors.
I'm trying not to throw up.
Yeah, we had a room full of doctors, so I'm thinking like, okay, worst comes to worst, we have the right people in the room. So I'm like trying to be calm and just let everything go how it should go. And then, I obviously made it through it, and then we got to the point where I was actually able to hold my child. So.
I mean,
it was good.
Bravo, Tyler. Bravo. Hats off to you, man.
That was a bigger moment in my life for sure.
Yeah,
and definitely something I have never seen before.
It was a moment probably worth it, you know.
It was worth it.
But for one,
did I handle it well or did I handle it correctly? I have no idea, but we made it through it.
I'm glad for you. I can't wait. Well, I could wait till the time when I have a kid, and when I do, you'll see. You're gonna come visit me and visit me and my wife in the hospital because I'm gonna be knocked out. Well, you're like, Justin, what's wrong with you? I'm gonna have like an IV, and I'm like, dude, I couldn't handle it. I start reminiscing on it, and I just have a puke bucket on the side because there's no way I'm gonna last that. And then Junior is gonna be off in La La Land, no kids.
Slipping it up.
It's not a choice for everyone.
No.
But I don't regret one bit making the choice.
I mean, I'm glad. Hats off to you.
I'm definitely happy.
Hats off to you, Tyler. Hats off to you. Congratulations. She's already, a year, right? Yeah. I went to your birthday party a while back.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
It was great. Hopefully, I can't wait to go the second year. I can't wait till like the kid can start eating like candies and stuff.
She does.
Because then you can. She shouldn't.
Oh,
but
she does.
You can.
We give her. Say you open up a thing of gummy bears, I'll let her have a gummy bear, or we'll give her a bite of
like
a chocolate bear.
Hazard.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. Maybe.
Oh, she's good. She's all good.
But
she actually started using her fork.
Yeah.
Which is the funniest thing ever because she like picks up her fork and like examines the fork And then she slowly goes for the food. And when the fork contacts the food, she pushes as hard as she possibly can, like she is shaking. And then she picks it up and examines what's on the end of the fork.
Please don't tell me.
And then just eats it.
Okay.
You know,
I was like,
Tyler, I imagine that's how you eat too.
I don't know.
yeah. He picks up his fork, he jams it on there, and then he delicately eats it after. But, like, you know, kids, I think it's cool, like, seeing their first experience when, like, because me as a kid, when my uncle or someone would give me candy, like, or my grandparents, I was, like, the happiest person alive. I was like,
Even
oh my
now.
gosh. Yeah. And if it was it's I think what made it so special is, like, you're experiencing that candy for the first time.
My
You're like,
brother
"That's amazing."
is always the one to give Chloe some kind of food, whether it be candy, snacks, or something. So when we go to my parents' house, she always goes up to my brother because she knows that she's going to get some kind of candy or
That's
some kind
adorable.
of food or something.
See, Junior, how can you hate this? How can you not like kids?
Because, man, they're just little animals and just...
You know, you were a kid once, too.
Yeah, and I hate it. I want to be grown, a 30-year-old man, just live my life.
Like Tyler. Not everyone has Tyler's luck. Being born a full linebacker, you know? Coming out with a mustache and a beard.
All right, here's a question. At what point do you start taking them to, like, Disney World and whatnot?
When I could afford it.
That's actually a really good answer because I can't afford that for a while.
But, like, you see these people that take their 1-year-olds and 2-year-olds, and it's
No.
like they're not going to remember it.
I mean, my parents took
Exactly.
me when I was like 1 to Six Flags, or like I think I was like 2 or 3. I couldn't go on anything.
Yeah, so one, if your kid can't sit on a ride and enjoy it, they shouldn't be there. Like Junior said, if you're 1-year-old and you can't even remember it, what's the point? So I don't get that. I would say 6-ish years old.
6?
Because your kid's big enough to ride all the rides. Well, the rides they're meant for. Maybe not full-blown roller coasters, but...
Yeah. I've seen that.
And then if they were to go to the gift shop and buy something, it's just... You're old enough to remember all this, and your child is old enough to walk around and firsthand experience it. If she has to be held or pushed around in a stroller, and she can't firsthand experience all of it,
Yeah.
I
And
don't
then
see
someone's
it.
got to stand by the stroller.
Yeah.
And someone's got to chill. It's either going to be the wife or you. One of the two people.
Are you going to get on this ride while I set this one out? Okay.
Sorry, honey.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. One, I want my child to have an experience that she actually remembers, and two, I want to experience everything.
Are you going to let your kid like kind of wear whatever they want? Like choose out their outfits even if it looks embarrassing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think my mom would like teach me how to lay out clothes when I was younger.
I don't match my clothes now.
And then we all know how Tyler was raised.
So this is actually a pretty funny one. My little cousins, Mackenzie and Tatum. I think you know them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Kristen, my aunt, she would actually make sure that they look decent. Terry, if they got the clothes on their body, he was fine with it. So, Tatum, she loves dresses. She would put on, cute little dress, and then she would get like this jacket that doesn't match at all, and then she would wear like, the big rubber rain boots. She would put those on, and they would be like a completely different color from the dress. And then the other one, Mackenzie, she's always been the lazy one. She'll take the whole day in her pajamas. So, like,
Oh my gosh.
I would at least try to make my kid put clothes on for the day.
Yeah.
But to an extent, and it's probably not going to be a very good extent because of, I have blue shorts and a burgundy Flash shirt on. It doesn't match at all. So I would be curious to see what my kid's gonna pick out, and if it doesn't match, if she looks ridiculous, honestly, it's a little bit cute sometimes, so it's fine. If we're going out to a nice restaurant or something like that, then I'm gonna say, Chloe, change your clothes. You have to look better than that. If we're going to my parents' house, or we're going to the movies, or we're just general day-to-day
Go to
whatever.
the park or something.
You can wear whatever you want and make your decision yourself.
One thing I liked about being a kid was going to the park. I had a blast at the park. I mean, even when we got older, me and Junior would go to the park near that place. Do you remember that?
That place.
Yeah, near your home.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't you just love his explanations?
Well, I didn't know if you were referencing the one by your place or the one by
Oh,
my
we would
place.
go there too.
Well,
Yeah.
well,
We would
that
go to
was-
the park a lot, even when
That
we were
was
older.
another thing where Justin just can't give you the direction or how to get there.
Yeah, the place with the thing and the mabob or something.
Something moves and you swing.
You could slide down something.
The place that has the mulch and the swings and the sidewalks on the side.
Yeah, in the corner of somewhere.
In the corner of this big neighborhood next to this house with the long driveway.
Well, guys, we're coming to an end, so I would like to tell everyone out there to please follow us on our social media and please follow us on SoundCloud. We're waiting for you. We're waiting. We're sitting here. I'm looking, and I'm like, you know what? There's a lot of people listening, but where's the people saying, you know what? We want to join for the long run. So, yeah, guys, come on. Give us a follow. It's free. You don't have to pay for anything. I believe you can make the profile via Facebook or if you have a Google account.
I log in with Google.
Yeah.
It's easy.
I go through Facebook. It's super easy. So, sign up, guys. Leave us a like. If you really liked it, please leave us a comment. We will read it.
And if you really, really liked it, share us with your friends.
Yeah, it's got a repost. There's so many ways. The reason why we chose SoundCloud for everyone is because there's ways to share it. It's easier to listen to it on the go and wherever you're at. So yeah, if you guys can give us a follow on our SoundCloud, that'd be great.
This is Justin begging, guys.
Yeah, please help me, please. Please give us also a follow on our social media, which is our Instagram and our Twitter, whichever you may prefer. It's at the amateur hour _. One more time, at the amateur hour _. And again,
of course, don't forget about our sponsors.
yeah, exactly, our sponsors, EBXYA. They're over on Amazon. Give them a check. See if you're in the field of looking for audio cables. Go ahead, check them out on Amazon. They're on Amazon. If not, follow them on Facebook at EBXYA Leia, which I believe is LAI. So give them a follow on Facebook too. Tell them we sent you. Tell them you enjoy our podcast and the reason why you're there. Well as
if all you can afford is that audio cable and nothing else, you can take it over to Lofty Cat Studios.
Exactly, Lofty Cat Studios he's generally a nice guy. You guys go in there. He has his own studio set up. He's got equipment for you guys.
He's got Fender, Martin guitars,
Oh, yeah,
drums,
He should have everything you need
piano.
there.
Yeah, so he has everything you need. So you're looking to get a band started. You're looking to at least record, see how you guys do. He has good prices, so check him out. If you're a local band from the area in Indiana, I would suggest checking him out. Again, fair prices for great studio quality. As I think that would be. Oh, and you know what? We're gonna pat ourselves on the back real quick for at least reaching a full month of September. I did make a playlist called the Anything and Everything playlist for episodes 1 through 4, including 1.5. So if you guys want to share the playlist with others, it's all under one playlist. So that way you guys can keep track of the month and what we talked about. Now we're into October. We got some fun, scary stories planned for you guys or experiences. Spooky. Hey, wait, Hey, Tyler, do you hear?
Why do you seem so far away?
I don't know.
What's happening?
It's kind of pitch black. Someone? Anyway. Tyler, say you. Junior, I think you're stepping on my foot. Junior? Mom? You heard the blue? Get ready for Halloween because we have special things planned. Okay. Thanks, Intervoice. So, guys, get ready for Halloween. We got some things planned for you guys. Again, we're still working on that trailer video for you guys, but unfortunately, It's kind of an outdoor video, so we can't really record it right now.
And don't worry, we won't terrorize you with the sound of Tyler's poop in the
Yeah, that was horrendous. We got some good reviews, mixed reviews on that one. I know some of you guys thought it was funny, some of you guys thought it was kind of gross, but so did we. I think that was the comedy of it all. But don't worry, you guys don't have to worry about that. Again, thank you all for listening.
Don't forget to tune in next Friday.
All right, see you guys next Friday. Every Friday. Goodbye.